$4,500. That's what the Alienware Area 51 with Tri-SLI 980s we have in the office costs. And the 4K monitor we have is another $684. It runs games pretty well at 4K, and gaming at 2160p is sick. But I'm guessing that's too rich for your blood. It sure is for me. Our story doesn't end here though. It's just begun. To get 60 frames per second in 4K with three 980s, you're not going to be running ultra settings on every game. Especially not Witcher 3, for example. But 4K is super impressive, even at 30 to 40 frames per second. I've been testing out all the games I've been playing lately, so I have a good frame of reference for how things should look and feel. Games like Wolfenstein The Old Blood, GTA 5, Dirt Rally, Project Cars, Far Cry 4, and The Witcher 3. Unsurprisingly, they all look super nice at 2160p. How to describe it? It doesn't add to the realism, but it makes everything look crisp and focused. It makes the game's assets and props look like you ripped them out of the game and you're looking at them in the actual world. That's not even getting to like grass and trees and stuff. It's really awesome.
Let's go.
I was actually surprised to even see that how good it looked. Like sitting close to that monitor, playing it on a PC, it was so beautiful. I'm like shocked.
It's amazing what Kyrat looks like in 4K. When you're in the Himalayas, you can see the draw distance is unbelievable. The mountains, the detail in the clouds, you really feel like you're in this beautiful, serene environment.
Something like GTA 5, when it's at 4K, it looks pretty remarkable. And it's just little things like the detail in the tires and when you're doing burnouts and the rim spinning, that kind of stuff. When you're traveling on dirt, you see more detail, you see more sharpness.
Yeah, I mean, I tried GTA 2 and wasn't really into it, but with something like The Witcher, where you're outside all the time, you have the trees in the distance, you have all the plants and everything around, like I think 4K really shines in that environment.
People's faces look so surreal. Like, as far as like wrinkles in someone's eyes squinting and just forming for expressions I don't think I've ever seen that before.
It does smell of lilac and gooseberries.
We also tested a Titan X on a Core i7-4930K and got playable results across all the aforementioned games. Even The Witcher 3 was running at 35 to 40 frames per second at 4K on high settings. We don't have one in the office, but what about an R9 295X2 from AMD? Those cards perform so well at 4K, and they only cost $619 now. But then you also need a monitor, and you can get the non-G-Sync 28-inch 60Hz Acer Beauty for about $450. But you know what's better than 2160p 60? 1440p 144. Maybe even 1080p 144. Playing all those games I mentioned before at 1080p 144 was an even more eye-opening experience for me than 4K. I couldn't believe how amazing Far Cry 4 felt at over 100 frames per second. And the car games were just so fluid at that speed too. I swear I was playing better. It's impossible to go back. We've been using a $330 LG GM77 144Hz 1080p display at 24 inches to test out some of this over 100 FPS gaming.
I really felt like it does give you this great feeling of dexterity. You feel like you have way more control. Even when I turned 360, I just saw everything, and I prefer that so much. I like, especially when it's heavy action oriented, that you get the higher frame rate. To me, that's just like the best.
Yeah, Far Cry looked outstanding high frame rate. It's one of those things where like once you've played it, you don't want to go back. And I want a PC rig to handle that.
When I played The Witcher at like a really high frame rate at 1080, like it was cool, but personally, I'd prefer something at 4K and get that experience. Running at least at 30 frames per second, but I mean, maybe in FPS or something, the frame rate matters, but for a game like this where I really want to be immersed in the beauty of it, I'd go for the quality of 4K.
I know it's hard to form an opinion without seeing this stuff, but for me, I'm not going to chase 4K, I don't think. I think the 2K 144 gaming is where it's at. That's where I want my money to go. Heck, even 1080p 144 is good enough for me to chase. I'm ready to drop $1,000 worth of upgrades in my PC to get it too. So only you can answer if it's worth it for you. Help each other out by sharing your experience with 4K or high frame rate stuff in the comments below, We sure appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Thanks.